All right. Hey, everyone. We're live. Welcome to Victory Condition Gaming. This is night 2 of our whole week of Q&As with various Kickstarter projects. Tonight, I'm really excited to have on the show Todd Medema, who is the designer, creator, co-designer of Expedition, the role-playing card game. It's really kind of this neat card game that incorporates a companion app. There's so many different things about it. I can't wait to talk to everybody about it and have Todd give you some insight about it as well. Todd, thanks for coming on tonight.
Thank you for having me, Doug.
Your expansion for the game, the expansion is the horror, is on Kickstarter. It's blowing up. It's just doing phenomenal success, even better than the first Kickstarter, which is crazy. Yep. Because everybody you talk to says that if you ever put out an expansion, it always sells less than the original. You never really see a whole lot of growth usually with expansions, but you're just the opposite. You're just blowing Kickstarter up with this.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Just 550% funded.
That's awesome. That's awesome. If anybody's interested in that, I did put a link to the Kickstarter in the description, so please check that out. Yeah. So Todd, welcome on. Let's you want to introduce yourself to folks? Tell folks a little about you and what you do.
Absolutely. So I'm Todd Medema. I'm one of the co-designers of Expedition, and so my background is in technology, entrepreneurship, and design. So before Expedition, I did a number of tech startups in advertising, another one that was a used car website. So kind of had a variety of startup experiences, but I've always been interested in games. Even in high school, I was programming video games. None of them were very good, but yeah, I kind of always wanted to make a game. And when we started working on Expedition, it was actually just a group of friends playing D&D, and we kind of ran out of time. I was the dungeon master, and it was taking hours every week to prepare, and every game would take like 4 hours, and it was hard to schedule everyone's time. And my co-designer and I were both software engineers, and we're like, this seems like something that software could help with. I mean, there's a lot of math involved. There's a lot of showing rules at the right time. Like, it sounds like a video game, but you're doing like a lot of the work yourself, and that takes away from the experience more than adds to it. So what can we kind of do to improve that?
Absolutely. And I think you've really kind of hit a great you've got a great balance of like kind of intro level RPG, and it's great. We'll talk about it in just a minute. So let's talk a little bit. You've talked about your tech background. What about your gaming background? Have you always been a gamer? How long have you been gaming?
My whole life. I originally played a lot of video games. I grew up in a small town in California, so there wasn't a huge kind of board game group there. I played some D&D with friends in high school, but I've played everything: FPSs, racing games. SimCity is one of my all-time favorites. Civilization. Yeah, and then came to college, found a bunch of other like-minded nerds who love board games, and we now have a board game shelf that's quite full.
That's awesome. That's great. What do you usually get to the table? What do you on a regular basis? Besides Expedition.
Right. We often warm up with a game of Bang, something nice and lightweight. While we wait for people to join. We love XCOM, the board game, Mysterium. We're super excited for Pandemic Legacy season 2.
The season, yeah, that's coming out really soon.
Yeah, but we have quite the variety.
That's awesome. That's great. No, it's great. So you talked about a little bit about what inspired Expedition. Expedition, for those that aren't familiar with it, it's a card-based RPG that uses a companion app, so it's kind of GM-less. And all you do is you just sit around and you kind of pick, the type of player that you want to be, and you pick some abilities, and you go. I wish I could kind of just walk people through the app right on the screen, but it's really, really simple. It's great. You guys have done a great job.
Thank you. And a huge thanks for that goes out to our community. We've been working on this for 2 years now, and we couldn't ask for a better community. Like we constantly get suggestions on how to clarify things, on how to streamline things. So a lot of the reason it feels so polished now is because our community has kind of tolerated us as we've kind of refined the idea and refined gameplay.
Well, that's awesome. It's always nice when you've got a group of people that want to see you succeed.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your first Kickstarter. What did you guys have any background in doing Kickstarters? Have any of you ever done crowdfunding before that initial one?
I had crowdfunded one idea long ago on Indiegogo for something called the Worldview wallpaper. I was trying to make like time lapses into wallpapers for your computer. So you could watch 24 hours. Like as the day passes, your wallpaper would change to match the time of day.
Oh wow! Okay.
So that raised $3,000, but a lot of that was family members supporting me, and so it was kind of like, okay, if this is what crowdfunding is for, like basically your friends and family helping to support you. So then we started working on Expedition, and really this was just a fun personal project for us for many months. Until we accidentally showed it to some of our friends, and they're like, "Oh, dude, my friend in New York would love this." And so then we kind of shared the PDF around to a few people, and then we decided to make it free to print and play. And so we kind of made this email list where you'd sign up to get the PDF, and we'd send out updates and polishes that we were making. And I think around the time the mailing list hit like 500 people, we were like, huh, maybe there's something here.
Yeah, you might want to think about making some money on this now.
Well, we still haven't made money.
Well, yeah, I mean, at least you're and that's with a lot of gaming companies, to be honest with you. You're doing this because you love you love what you do, and you love the community, and that's like I said, that's the majority of the gaming industry as a whole. But yeah, no, it's great. Let me grab my copy right here. It's right here. It's this little box, and the packaging is really good too. I mean, you guys have done a great job.
Thank you. And
it all fits in this little box. It goes on your shelf, and you download the app and you play. It's great. I when I first found the project on Kickstarter, I shared it with a couple of my friends, and they're like, "Yeah, I don't really have the money to." I'm like, "No, guys, they're offering it for free. Like you can actually, because they're crafters too, they love to craft. I'm like, you guys can download the print and play and just play it for free if you want to, and then if you really like it, go on their web store and buy a copy." So I'm going to tell anybody that's watching this right now, if you're still on the fence, download the print and play, just give it a playthrough, and then go to the web store and buy a copy. So the thing that I really liked about it, and there are a couple things that I want to ask you about as well.
Of course.
About the game. The thing that I really liked about it was that Sydney, my daughter's 11.
Okay.
And so, she doesn't have we've played a couple role-playing games, but she really got into the play of the game, and every round of combat you draw three abilities or powers or whatever, and you play one down, and she really got into that. She loved that. So this game is really accessible for younger kids, and my wife played it, and my wife doesn't like RPGs at all.
Mm-hmm.
And we've tried to play. I tried to play Mutant Year Zero with her one time, and she was just like, "No, I'm not digging this at all." But she actually really loved your game as well. So I'm going to say anybody that's watching this that wants to introduce like family members or people that are kind of hesitant of playing a role-playing game, give this game a shot, because it really does a great job of just kind of easing folks into playing an RPG.
Yeah, and a lot of the people who have reviewed it have called it a fantastic introductory game.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's marvelous. The one thing that I will tell you that I'm not that Sydney right off called you out on, and I'm going to tell you this is when you have an 11-year-old girl, she's going to call you out on one thing. She's like, Dad, I don't really see any good female characters that I want to play. And I'm like, let me see here. I'm like, well, you could be this. I mean, they're all kind of generic. You can, they're kind of genderless, but she was just like, yeah, I don't really like. She had a hard time. So that's one thing that just we had a little bit of like, no, this is. Why don't you play this? You'll like this. This is, and she once she got past that, it was fine. But yeah, it would be kind of like, I don't know, like Amazon Princess or Amazon Warrior or something. Like she was really hoping for something like that, and she didn't find it. But everything else is just beautiful, and I think it's great the way you've incorporated the physical and the digital.
And that's actually an interesting thing about the role-playing genre right now, is that it's heavily male-dominated. And so that even though none of the adventure cards list a gender on them, people often see the befuddled mage and they picture a befuddled male mage.
Exactly.
And our advertisements, just by the very nature that we're advertising for an RPG board game, it's something like 80 to 90% male.
Yep.
Which is kind of the unfortunate state of the market right now. And one of the things we're hoping to do by making a kind of less math-heavy and more storytelling focused role-playing game is to actually kind of break that gender gap.
Nice. Yeah, and I know just based on my channel and everything, I look at my analytics and I know where my target audiences are. But yeah, it was just like one thing that Sydney was just like, I don't really, I can't really relate to, like, so I'm like, okay, well, and then I kind of had to talk her into, but once she got going, she loved it. I'm going to tell you right now. So the horror expansion is on Kickstarter. You said it's over 500% funded.
Yep.
Now, have you seen a lot of people, like, the thing that I really like about this Kickstarter is that you have copies of the base game available in your web store. So if people want to just buy the base game, they can, which is what we did. We picked this up about a week ago, and so we can play it before the expansion comes out. Or if people want, they can pre-buy the base game and the expansion, and they get a really good discount on the combo. How much do they save doing that?
You essentially get the expansion for free.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great savings for folks. Have you seen a lot of people backing just for that pledge?
Yeah, actually, the majority of our backers right now are the bundle tier.
Nice.
And as a new gaming company, by far our biggest challenge is just getting the word out. Right, the people who do discover Expedition and play it absolutely love it, but there are hundreds of thousands of board games out there, and we're in the single thousands of digits of players. So how do we keep reaching new people is the challenge.
Sure. Now a lot of that probably has to do with since it was your first Kickstarter previously, people kind of are hesitant. And how did your first Kickstarter end up? Do you guys deliver it on time? Did you have a little bit of issues with development? How did that process go?
Well, the first Kickstarter was always a learning experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
We hadn't anticipated some of the delays involved in working with China, and we had tried to add a few extra months to our timeline and pad around that, but we wanted to deliver a good product, and so we ended up having to do an extra round of proofing because we were learning as we went, and so we ended up delivering a few months late there. But now that we have those mistakes under our belt, but the first Kickstarter was actually interesting. So it was actually our second Kickstarter.
Oh, okay.
We had previously launched on Kickstarter, the October of the previous year, and we're on track to hit our goal. But we got a lot of really good community feedback. That was the most public we had been about Expedition up to that point, and we saw how many improvements we could make. And we kind of looked at the timeline that we had promised people, and we just decided, let's take the extra 6 months. Let's really rework and polish things, and then launch again with an updated time frame, with a more polished game. And, that ended up being the right move. We raised 3 times as much.
Nice. That's very smart on you guys, on your part. That's awesome to see. I like that that you guys were willing to kind of hone it even further, and then bring it to market a little bit later to make sure everything was all worked out. It's very commendable.
Thank you. Yeah, there are lots of mediocre board games in the world. We didn't want to be another board game that you kind of regret buying after a week. So
this is true. So let's talk about. Originally, it came out for Android.
Yep.
Your app. It's now on iOS as well.
Yes.
So if people have Android or iOS devices, feel free to pick up a copy of this game and give it a whirl. Was there any issues with the iOS? Did you have any problems? I know some previously. I've worked on a couple. I've play tested a couple or beta tested a couple apps for various projects, and I know with iOS there is sometimes issues on the backside of things with approvals and everything. Did you guys have a problem with that?
We had a couple of delays in getting the initial app out, but once they've kind of approved your app, it tends to be much smoother. And we also have a web app, so just app.expeditiongame.com.
That's
so
right.
Pretty much any device can play, which has actually been kind of a lifesaver for such a small team, because we've had people with Amazon tablets or Windows tablets. It'd be a lot of extra work to support a fairly small audience segment, but because we have this web app, everyone can enjoy it, and it's identical. So it's actually a web app that's bundled into an Android and an iOS app, so everyone gets the exact same experience.
Oh, nice. Okay, that's really cool. I knew that you had a web app, and I just didn't think of it. The other thing that I really think that playing this on a tablet is the way to go, because when you play and there's combat, you pick an ability, you play it down, and you have to put your finger on the screen. And I tell you, my daughter loved that. That was she had a blast doing that. And if you have it on a mobile device, it's kind of small and everything. But if you have it, we played it on my iPad, and I was afraid we were going to break my screen there a couple times. But playing it on a tablet is definitely the way to go. So that's great.
Yeah, it works equally well on phones, and since there's someone in every board game group that has a smartphone.
Absolutely.
Because one of the things we had looked at originally was what would this game look like if everyone had the app running on their phone, and you could do some pretty cool things, but then you run into you don't want to exclude that one member of your group that doesn't want to have a smartphone, and you don't want to not be able to play once one person's phone dies. And someone's phone is always dead. So we kind of redesigned it to be around one central device.
Sure. No, that's great. And I like how there's also you could also have your GM be in charge of the tablet and have other people play it. And that's after we were playing it, I'm like, oh, you know what? I could just sit at a table and read the text and the adventure, and then be like, okay, here's the combat, put the tablet down, and like everybody, and then pick it back up, and you could also play it that way. So even though it's GM-less, you could actually kind of implement a GM with the gameplay as well.
So you can actually play it in full GM mode as well. There's a tool, custom combat, where the app just handles the combat, and then you can tell your own story on top of it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't dig that. We didn't dig that far into it. That's a really cool feature.
Yeah, I mean the system's already there, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is quite. You guys got a great product. I can't stress that enough. So it's open source, so people can kind of put in their own adventures, and like you said, you can kind of, it's GM-less, so you can actually kind of just play it as you go. You want to talk a little bit about that? You have different quests that come on every month or every week as well, right? Is that what I read?
Yeah. So we actually have an open source tool that allows anyone to write their own stories for the app, and so we're investing really heavily into the writing community. So we hold contests every month. We actually just hired someone to specifically manage our author community and create new content for writers and kind of teach them to write the best quests possible. So there's constantly new quests coming out in all types of genres, age levels, and gameplay lengths.
Nice. No, that's great. The last thing you want to do is just kind of just play the same quest over and over again and not have new content. And it's all and the thing that I love about this is like it's free. It's not like you're paying. There's some companion apps out there. I don't want to name too many names, but we featured them on the channel. But if you want to play the new quest, you have to pay $3 or something and play it. But I love the fact that it's pretty much just all community driven, and you guys are just putting it out there and just saying, hey, here, have fun with it.
Yeah, and one of the things we're looking at doing is adding a tipping system so that if you really enjoy a quest, you can kind of reward that author for creating something great, because there are people, really good writers out there who do want to get some return on the amount of time, because a really good quest can take days, if not weeks, to write and polish.
Sure.
But we still want to keep true to that idea that anyone can play it. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to have a freemium game.
Yep. Yep. No, that's great. Let's talk a little bit about the Kickstarter that's on the expansion that's on right now. It's called The Horror. You want to discuss the details of that and tell folks what that brings to your game?
Absolutely. So The Horror is a kind of loosely Cthulhu themed expansion. So it adds lots of tentacled, description-defined monsters.
Sure.
As well as the first exhibition cards with actual art, which we're really excited about. But more than that, it adds a new role-playing mechanic called the Persona card, which kind of serves two really cool purposes. On one hand, it gives you more to roleplay with your character. So instead of just being the befuddled mage, you become the greedy befuddled mage.
Oh.
So just a little bit more depth, but you still have the same kind of really fast character creation. And that will actually change through a quest. So your character can kind of descend into being anxious or paranoid, or they can ascend into being confident and helpful.
Nice. Okay.
So you're constantly kind of changing how you portray your character, because we as humans are kind of flexible by nature. But it also provides kind of a new level of mechanical strategy.
Sure.
So if your persona improves to its max level, you actually get a boost in combat. And if you descend to the minimum level, you take a penalty.
Okay. Now, is that like a one-time boost and then you drop down, or okay?
Yep. Yeah. So you kind of reach this zenith of confidence. You do something epic, and then you kind of take a break.
Yeah. Okay.
Return to your basic persona.
I like it. It just adds, like you said, it adds like another layer to the RPG experience. So then that way, if people want to just play the base game, they can, and then if they want to add a little bit more, they can do that. And that's the way the gaming market is anyway. You always start out with a core set, and then you just kind of add mechanics as you go. So right now there are how many monsters or big bosses that are in this set?
So the base game has 40 enemies, and then the expansion adds 10 new ones.
Nice.
And that's kind of how we want to keep it. Is each expansion pack adds kind of a little bit of a new theme, maybe a new mechanic. It just kind of expands the game a little bit, but it's still quite affordable. It's only $10 on Kickstarter right now. And that kind of lets people pick and choose which ones they're most interested in. But it also, we want the game to be fun, even as the base game, and kind of expansion packs are opting into a more complex and perhaps even challenging game. But we want it to always be at its most basic, like a really easy to pick up game.
Yeah.
And then kind of building more advanced features for those who want to kind of engage with it at that level.
Now, I've noticed in this base game that there is plenty of space for expansion, so it looks like it was planned well in advance that this was going to be a thing. So that's very smart on your part for making sure that even the base game is going to accommodate. It looks like at least a few expansions in there.
Yeah, it should fit 2 more.
Nice.
Once we have our 3rd expansion out, we'll probably release some sort of bigger carrying case for it. But yeah,
Very cool.
we really want to expand the system when we first started working on it. So
that's very, very smart. You guys definitely know what you're doing there, and I'm very, very pleased with everything that I've seen. Let's see. You want to talk a little bit about the stretch goals that that you've unlocked for, because you guys got some exciting stretch goals that you just recently unlocked that I want to hear all about, because it's going to take your game to a whole nother level.
Yeah, and really in some ways I almost wish we had been able to kind of launch with these features from the minimum funding level, because they're just such exciting and game-changing things that, you know, so we recently unlocked at the 30,000 level something called remote play. So Exhibition will be the first board game to natively support playing with people in different locations. So all of your apps will become synchronized, and then you'll all just have your own set of cards, and you know, you'll be on a video call or a voice call, kind of role playing as you would as if you're in person. And then whenever someone hits next on the app, everyone's app will advance. And in combat, when everyone's putting their fingers on the screen, you'll actually see other people's fingers on your screen.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome! That sounds so cool. So and then you'll be able. You said that you're going to have some sort of you'll have like voice. People will be able to talk remotely even while they're doing that.
Well, so we'll let people use whatever communication platform they want. So whether it's a phone call or a Skype or Google Hangout, like you'll still be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you'll still be able to chat like you would normally.
It's not going to go through the app though.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, that kind of eliminates the need for a clunky tabletop simulator, or, you know, pointing your camera at the cards of like, oh, this is where I move my piece.
Yep. I've done that a few times. That's great. And then so you just unlocked that.
Yep.
How much development do you think you'll need for that as far as a time frame?
So our goal is to have it out before the holidays, and we're
goodness.
Yeah.
That's intense.
Yep.
You guys got some work to do.
Oh yeah. We took a look at how many days off we have work between now and the holidays, and we're like, we should be able to do this. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, you guys are young. You guys, I mean, you guys probably a little bit younger than I am. I'm not going to say how old I am, but you guys are up for that challenge, which is awesome. So by the holidays, Todd, that's crazy. That's not very far away.
Nope. It's already mid-September somehow. I'm not sure when that happened.
Yeah, I know. That's crazy. This year has gone by so fast. But that's awesome. Okay, so that's, and when do you think you'll have the expansion all set to go and to ship, and when do you have
we're
a
actually
time?
going to kick off manufacturing before the Kickstarter closes. You know, we kind of have a sense of how many people have backed it. We're going to buy a bunch of extra copies.
Sure. Just
just to have them available, and in case of a surprising number of people. I mean, at this rate, our curve looks like this, so who knows where it could end up.
It's great. I love, of course, you've got 4 days left, and I always like to see that upward tick. You know, campaign is just, you know, is doing really well when you see it just take off at the end, and I think you guys are on course for that, which is great. Going to be great to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, so the expansion we're aiming to have it manufactured by the middle of October to late October, and then get it to a fulfillment house and get it out to people with plenty of time for Christmas.
Okay.
That's obviously our goal,
Sure.
but that still gives us plenty of time for adjustments as needed.
Yeah, now, are you guys do all the shipping there? Is that you guys like go into somebody's like basement, and or like I know that like I talked to some Kickstarter people and folks, and they're like, yeah, I put it all in my garage, and like I spend like a week packing stuff up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's crazy. How do you guys handle all that?
Yes, we actually use a fulfillment house called Ship Naked.
Okay, nice.
It's been wonderful, really. Like, we just send them every single copy. They're actually the shipping provider for our web store as well.
Yep.
So, you know, they have customs free shipping, and automatically, magically, our web store now has custom friendly shipping.
Wow.
And it's been absolutely no pain on our backs, right? Like, we just send them the copies, and then, oh, send a copy to this address, done. No trips to the post office, no getting a rash on your tongue because you've been looking so many stamps. 21st century is great.
Yeah, no, that's great. I know quite a few Kickstarter projects that use Ship Naked, so I knew that's how this arrived, but I wasn't too sure how you had everything planned. But yeah, no, that's always good to have someone else take care of the back end of things.
Yeah, and we were ready to do fulfillment ourselves because that's kind of what we had heard other people doing. But when we looked at the cost, it was actually cheaper to use them because they get commercial bulk discounts.
Oh, sure.
For the amount that we pay them to pack it and send it off, we would have actually spent more money just on the boxes and postage labels.
Gotta love it. Love it. Yeah, that's great, and they're on the East Coast. I think they're just a few states over because I got our copy fairly quickly, which was nice.
Yeah, and they're opening a new warehouse in Indiana actually. So in the coming months, their service should be even faster to the US.
Wow, very cool. So let's talk. So you've got the horror expansion. That's pretty much a done deal. You got the remote play. What other future plans do you have for Expedition?
Well, we have this $45,000 stretch goal. It's going to be close, but if we hit it, we're going to have the resources to look into Expedition for VR and Expedition for voice assistance.
That's very cool. Okay.
Yeah, and so we can't promise any timelines on those. We don't even know if they're technically possible, but that will at least give us the resources to start building up some demos and see if the technology is there for it.
Sure. That's exciting stuff. Have you guys ever have any background in doing work like that with those features before? Yeah,
so we actually automated our entire house. Hey Google, turn off studio lights.
Okay.
That's awesome.
We haven't done any VR development yet, but we have a headset on loan from a friend, so we're kind of getting a feel for what's possible there right now.
Wow. Okay. You guys are smart people. I dig what I love seeing and hearing about all this stuff. So at least if you hit that level, at least it'll give you a little bit of seed money to kind of check that out, and maybe an expansion or two down the road you can kind of implement it as a stretch goal. Do you have any plans? You said you have room in here for 2 expansions. So it sounds like you've already got another expansion in the works. Do you want to spoil what that is yet, or do you want to just say that you've got another one in the back of your?
So we actually have probably a dozen expansion ideas, but yeah, we want to make high quality things that all work together, and so it's going to take a lot of work to kind of put together the mechanics and make sure they drive nicely.
Sure.
But one of the things we will be doing in the coming months is surveying our community to figure out kind of which theme people want most, because a lot of storytelling is which theme and environment people are most excited about. So whether that's pirates or space or ninjas, that'll be up to the community to decide.
Can I put my hat in and say post-apocalyptic? I like that genre a lot. So I'm gonna throw that suggestion out there. Anybody that's watching, if they want to put their suggestions in the comments, feel free. I will be glad to debate on why I think that post-apocalyptic expedition should be a thing. But yeah, no, that's great. There's all sorts of different genres of RPGs, and it would be really, really cool to see, like you said, a space and a pirate, and there's just so much stuff out there that appeals to a huge audience.
Yeah, and so actually, you're kind of talking about goals for Expedition, and stretch goals and expansions aside, really our biggest goal is to become the world's best library of adventures.
Oh, okay. It's a pretty good, pretty lofty goal to have. Let's see here. We've got Manny Rosenberg. Hello, bloke. I have been working on before for about 2 weeks and was wondering what your thoughts on. Oh, I don't know if that's. It doesn't look like that has anything to do. So let's talk about your pledge levels. Your expansion is $10, like you said, and then the shipping is $5. Is about $5? I can't remember what.
Yeah.
And then if folks want the base and the expansion, then it's $30 plus shipping.
Mm-hmm.
Then you also have a retail level, which is great. Do you have I haven't really looked at the pledges. Have you had a few retailers sign up for this as of yet?
Yeah, we actually have several signed up, and we're on a couple of distributors. So game stores are actually able to buy Expedition.
Oh, nice.
Right now as well.
Because I'm going to tell you the honest truth. There's quite a few game stores around here that I work with, and I know that and I've got a big gaming convention that I'm going to be heading to in November. I'm taking Expedition with me, and I'm going to sit down with a few store owners and say, hey, try this out. See if it's something that you want to put on your store shelves. And then I was going to kind of show them your web store, but I didn't know if you had any kind of distributor as well. So that's great. They have that option. So I'm definitely going to let them know. The retail level is $115, but they get 5 copies and a demo copy
of the base game and the expansion.
Of the base game and the expansion.
Yep. So they're getting 12 games.
Ah, wow. That's a pretty good bargain right there. And then you have some really lofty, even higher pledge levels. Mm-hmm. You want to talk about those? If anybody really wants to kind of go all in.
Yeah. So we wanted to give a few ways for the community to contribute, both just by buying the game and by kind of contributing at a more serious level. So we have a level where you can actually work with us to write your own featured quest. So you get some real hands-on time on crafting a story and getting lots of really good feedback on it. We also have a game designer tier where you actually get to help us design a card in the next expansion. So if you're thinking about designing your own game, this is a fantastic way to kind of steal some extra insights on how to design a good game. And then we also have a really generous $300 tier called the Patron, where you get to enjoy a private dinner and game night with the founding team. Nice. And you're going to fly folks in and put them up in a swanky hotel and everything? Travel is not included. No, it's kind of expected with that. That's very cool, and I hope those you get quite a few of those pledged for, because that would be a great experience, because you guys seem like very cool folks, and you get some really cool things going on. Thank you. Now, you've mentioned that the art, like this expansion is the first to have art on the cards. Mm-hmm. Is that something you're going to tend to try to do going forward? We think so. And it, we want to kind of be thoughtful about how we use art in Expedition, because Expedition is designed more as a system that you can put your imagination on top of. And so if we, with the adventure cards, if we did art for a character, that would very narrowly create a specific image of what a befuddled mage looks like. Sure. And it would kind of enforce whatever stereotypes exist. Oh, this is a male befuddled mage. I have to play it as a male mage. Right. And so, we don't think we're going to have art on every card going forward, but I think there are definitely opportunities for art to kind of enrich the experience. Nice. And art's not cheap, so I mean it is an added cost. Also keep it affordable. Yeah. Right. So one of the things we're actually really excited about, an earlier stretch goal we unlocked, all of the new kind of featured quests unlocked in other stretch goals will actually have art by the same artist. So because the nice thing about quests is they're a specific adventure, and so if you can give them a little bit of art that really complements the storytelling and enforces the kind of creates the world that you're adventuring in. So we're really excited to be able to bring art into the quests. Nice. Yeah, absolutely.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add before we? I know folks can like you on like your Facebook page. I'll put links to that. I'll follow you guys on Twitter, your website, and it's actually available on Amazon as well. We're
actually sold out on Amazon right now, but
you are
soon.
Nice. Okay. Is there anything else you guys want to? Is there anything else you'd like to add before?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is, if it seems interesting, definitely check out the print and play. And if you enjoy the game, we've a lot of really kind of active community and tools for the community to get involved. So whether that's writing a quest or checking out the open source code and submitting ideas or issues on how we can improve the app, we just love to hear from and work with our community. So
excellent. Well, let's. I want to thank Todd. Thanks for coming on and kind of talking with me about Expedition. I wish you a lot of success in the next few days, and hopefully we get to see VR and all these other grand stretch goals that you have in place. I'm really excited to see this, and if anybody is interested, please check out and pick up a copy of Expedition. And if you don't have a whole lot of money or something, just check out the print and play, because even the print and play is a really good option to play this game as well. All right, that's going to do it for me, folks. And I want to thank Todd again for coming on. And if you like this video, if you like Expedition, please give it a thumbs up in the down below. And this has been Doug. My name is Doug. This has been Victory Condition Gaming, because winning shouldn't be the only victory condition when you get to the table. Thanks for watching, folks. We'll see you on the next video.
Thank you.